Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining the class today. It will be a very intense but short class. So the points that we're going through today is the first 3 weeks from the day before the adoption, through the adoption, getting your dog in the car, bringing home, introducing to your family, and all the way to the week 4. The important part here is to be aware of all the stages of your dog's introduction process, because it's very important that you will become aware of all the struggles your dog having. So first of all, I want to welcome everyone, and maybe you want to kind of notify yourself here in the group. So it's me, it's Roman with Roman's Canine Training, and I welcome everybody in the class. So I'm waiting for everybody to log in. Thank you. You can comment, if you want to interact with me, you can comment in the comment line. You can push on the likes and hearts depending on how you like the question or the class itself. You can ask questions. All the questions that you can post here during that video session or video class, I will answer right after. So Ronnie is here from Connecticut. Who else is here on board? Good. So I'm a holistic dog trainer and I work with rescues, as you see on my website. The purpose of that class is to share my experience as dog trainer, behaviorist, and animal communicator, and healer, as intuitive healer, to give you that information in order to help you integrate your dog from the shelter into your home. So, few things first. We're talking about the first 4 weeks. We're not talking about puppies in particular, but we talk about adult dogs who come from rescue into your home. Important to say is, before you adopt a dog, you want to make sure where your dog is coming from. If he comes from a shelter, make sure the shelter you're adopting the dog has all the dogs up to date, has the dogs well nutrition-wise and health-wise in order. Make sure you have all the vaccinations papers and all the papers that come with the dog with you. If you're working through a rescue, make sure that the rescue you're working with is a reputable rescue, has knowledge of the breed that you want to adopt, and will follow through, did your home invitation, home inspection to make sure that everything is in order, had contact your vet to see if you have a vet aligned for your dog. All these things are important because if the rescue that adopted the dog doesn't have these basic skills, the dog you adopt may be a cat in a bag. A rescue or the shelter should be aware of the dog's behavior. You cannot just adopt a dog and full of surprise figure out the dog has a problem. You should know that before you get the dog in a home. Try not to be emotional when you adopt a dog. It's very important that you are very aware of the responsibility and very aware about the risk you have taking a dog. It's not like taking a car and then sell it. You're adopting a dog, you put a dog in your family as a member of your family for the next 5 to 16 years. I want you to see that picture and be aware of that time, because many times people adopt a dog for the next year and then they figure out they have to move to another country, or they change their job, they change the family status, now they want a child and the dog doesn't take children, and all of a sudden they're in a conflict. So if you want to keep your dog for a long time, your dog is in your family plan for the next 5 years at least. You should know what you're doing in the next 5 years before you get a dog at home. So let's go to the process of getting your dog. So you're going to the shelter, to the rescue, or to the foster home, and you adopt a dog. Before you do so, you want to make sure that you have all the papers aligned, all the signature sets, all the information that you need that comes with the dog, and the background story as much as you can get. from the foster home or from the volunteers of the shelter. As many information you can get, the better it is. Make sure that if you work with a shelter, that you get the volunteer who worked with that dog. Talk with a person. Have him introduce you to the dog. Go with you for a walk with the dog. Learn from this person. These people are willing to help you. They want the dog out of the shelter as much as you want to take the dog with you home. You want to make sure that you get all this information from them that is crucial for your dog's future. You want to make sure that the small secrets, the small tiny behaviors that put you or your family at risk are in your consciousness. Don't excuse a behavior. Don't excuse a mischief of a dog. You have just to be aware of it. Because the dog growled at you, don't ignore it. Don't make a big deal out of it. Just be aware of it and keep notes and focus on that. Some of you guys work already in rescue. I see Susan from Connecticut and Steve from Ohio, if I'm right. You guys work in rescue all the time. You see the struggles people have being so excited adopting the dog that actually they forget about asking questions. Then they try to listen, but they cannot because of all this excitement. You tell them stories, you tell them structures, what to do and what not to do, and they just don't remember. The only thing they remember is a good dog needs a home, I'm the savior. And then they end up at home and having all this stress, and then you have the phone call 3 o'clock in the morning, help, my dog growled at me because I woke up in the bed in the morning and stepped on his tail. So, let's focus on the first week. I make some notes because I don't want to miss anything. So you see me watching on my notepad just to make sure that I don't miss anything. So before you adopt a dog, you want to make sure that you narrow down your decisions down to 3 dogs. Pick the 3 dogs and do an evaluation. It's okay. It's good to have a professional consulting you through that adoption process. Dog trainers can see things you don't. Foster homes are a good source of information. However, I would be very careful with the rescue you're working with and the foster home you adopt a dog. Some foster homes want the dog out of their home. They want just another dog. They will easy answer questions like, is your dog good with cats? Yes, he's good with cats. He's good with everyone. Be aware that good with everyone means good with everyone in the family the dog grew up with. Doesn't mean he's good with the neighbor's cat. Doesn't mean he's good with your cat. If this dog is good with family members, children, adults, and elder people, these are people who lived in the house and the dog got used to them. Doesn't mean that that dog is plug and play in your house. So be aware that you have an introduction process throughout that procedure and don't assume things that comes from your perception. You have always to have the dog's perception of things. So the other thing that I want you to focus on is you have to be ready before you bring the dog in a home. You have to have everything set up. Take your time. It's like going on vacation. You don't pack yourself while you're driving to the airport or at the place you arrive for vacation and you're like, oh, I didn't take my swimsuit or I forgot my pills. You have to have everything ready. What do you need for your dog? Crates, food, football, leashes, collars, tags, a bed, a place. All the family has to be on the same page. Some families consider rules. Children have to walk the dogs, have to clean up the poop. I would say go slow with that jobs descriptions for children. Children are here to learn from you how you treat the dogs. They are not here to educate your dog. Children have the same level as your dog. You're asking for children who don't have structure and don't have behavior evaluation skills to deal with a dog who eventually has problems. So make sure that your kids and family are aware of that. Be a good parent, meaning is show your children what to do with the dogs. What they see from you, they will transfer it to the dogs in the future, meaning is you educate your children to be future dog parents as good as you are. So make sure you make good impressions. So another step that you have to focus at is have a dog trainer aligned. have a veterinarian aligned. You have time, take reviews, visit some veterinarians, try to get an appointment, see how things are working out there, because once a dog comes from a shelter, foster home, or breeder, you want to make sure that the dog is in good health condition. You still have a small window to return your dog because for different reasons. Here is why. A rescue shelter is not a hospital. It's an emergency room for dogs to come in, stay safe, be eventually returned to their previous owner, being evaluated, and find them a home. Rescue shelters are not education centers, are not boarding homes, and they are not hospitals. So be aware that there is only the minimum amount of energy involved in that dog for the dogs to learn, their behavior skills, to become healthy, or to get social skills. So be aware that if your dog comes out of a shelter, the first thing you have to do is consult a trainer. It's not a big deal. And consult a veterinarian. The dog has to go from the shelter to your home, or eventually straight to the doctor, to the veterinarian, for an adjustment or for evaluation. Have the trainer or a dedicated foster home help you with that transition. Many rescues have foster home and foster trainers aligned, like National Great Pyrenees Rescue, or other rescue organizations like Mastiff Rescues, or Gentle Giants Rescues, or East Coast Gentle Giant Rescues, or Cane Corso Rescues, and whatever rescues are that are very important and help all these special breeds. Have trainers and foster homes aligned to help you through the process. They go with you to the veterinarian because they know the dog is comfortable there. Don't expect the dog to accept the veterinarian or the vet tech right after the shelter. Some dogs are very stressed, and so if you bring that in that stress environment to the veterinarian, you may end up in trouble and then eventually put the people in danger and in harm, or eventually lose the dog because of a bite incident. Good. Make sure that everything that you bought for your dog is dog safe. I suggest do not go cheap. Shop wise, check recommendations, ask people who have the similar breed, same breed, for some recommendations. I have a dedicated Amazon page where I have all this material and tools that I ever used for foster and training there, so people can refer to that. You may help contact me on Facebook or email through my webpage www.romanscanine.com to get that information. I'm happy to send you that link. So the next part you want to watch is money. Sure, who told you that having a dog is cheap? You have to be aware that one incident, your dog swallows something he shouldn't, a sock, or a tablet or a pill, unfortunately something you don't want to. He gets into trouble. That gets you into trouble. For the veterinarian to do x-rays or do a surgery, the first thing you have to do is you have to buy $500 cash on the counter before the dog goes into surgery. So you need $500 backup if something happens, so you can reach out. Nobody will borrow you money at that point, 3 o'clock in the morning, when your dog has a seizure, or your dog has a distress, or has a bloat, or swallowed a sock and all of a sudden you have a constipation. You have to have that money available. I suggest if you have a big dog over 75 pounds, you should calculate about $1,000 backup money on a dedicated dog account, savings account, where you can get the money out of there to pay the bills. Some rescues will support you if you have that kind of problem. Get in contact with your rescue. Maybe you will get a rescue discount through the 501c3 of the rescue, and you may get eventually a better price on surgery. Take recommendations from a veterinarian. Ask for a second opinion. Ask for the third opinion. Don't go and hit the first hit, because it may be too expensive, it may be over-exaggerating, maybe the veterinarian doesn't have experience with the breed you have. Some breeds have very specific issues and problems. You have to be aware of that in regards of putting the dog in anesthesia, or having certain behavior issues, or having certain health issues. You want to be aware of that. if you have a problem with your dog, do not blame the rescue or the shelter at the first place. Some things are not visible for the rescue or the shelter until specific examinations are being addressed. So if that event doesn't happen at the rescue or the shelter, nobody will know about it until it really happens. So don't get upset, try to find out what happens, be calm, get information, ask questions. Most of us have a phone, just Google the recommendation of the doctors, see what the community says. Some of you guys are on Facebook, on a specific Facebook groups, post it there, get opinions, make sure the opinions you get are valued. So, you have your dog, you paid your fee at the rescue, shelter, or adoption, you take your dog home. Wait, we have a few things to do. You have to get your dog home, meaning is, you have to get your dog in your car, right? How do I get my dog in a car? Of course, I have to be safe. So make sure you have a crate or a harness or a compartment in your car where your dog is safe there. And here's my tip. You don't know what you really get until you learn it. So if you get a dog from a home, from a shelter or a rescue, you have to be cautious. Don't assume your dog is comfortable in your car. The dog is in a confined space with people he doesn't know, in a stressful environment, driving a car, and that may be a problem. So I would suggest use the crate, have the dog in the crate, make sure there is a blanket underneath and the dog is not so slippery or swirling around in the crate while you're driving. Make sure everything is nice and soft and secured. Make sure the crate is secured in the car, because here's an example for people who have heavy dogs. A 75-pound dog in a crash accident with 30 miles per hour has a deceleration mass of 1 ton. This 1 ton of weight will hit you in the back while you're having that accident, and you may be injured, or the dog will just shoot out of your car into the driveway or into the street and get hurt. A car accident with a non-secure dog is most of the times fatal for your dog. He will not survive the accident because he will get hurt throughout the car, shooting around like a bullet, or you get hurt in the same way. A crate is a safe transportation place. Harnesses over 75 pounds do not exist in the market. Don't be fooled. Just because you have a harness and you hook it up doesn't mean that harness will hold 1 ton of mass in an accident. Okay, just to make sure. Make sure your kids are not in the back seat while your new rescue dog is there too. These two don't know each other, and you may end up in trouble if the dog starts stepping over your child because it doesn't recognize a child. Good. Getting dog food. Get the recommendation from a shelter, breeder, foster home, or whatever you want. That's what they use for their dogs, because for different reasons, financial, or because they're nutritionists, you don't know, they have these preferences. Make sure they give the highest quality food. Even if the shelter gives you that prescription diet, doesn't mean that particular prescription diet is the best for your dog. That's what they had to feed the dogs because that's what they got for donations. Doesn't mean the dog is not allergic to that food. So either way, you consult a nutritionist or you do your research. If you need help, I'm happy to help you with that. Do a class, do a seminar, do a webinar in specific for dog nutrition so you know what you're feeding your dog. Raw diet, high quality kibble, low quality kibble, bad kibble. Raw diet is the highest level of nutrition you can give your dog, but raw diet doesn't mean cooking on your own in your house. Raw diet means raw, uncooked. However, cooking rice and chicken for your dog is not healthy. Eventually, feeding him high quality kibble is healthier than you feeding him all the day, all year or months, chicken and rice. So be aware, human diet is not appropriate for dogs. They have a different system, digestive system. I don't want to go into that part. Do your homework, read nutritions about dogs so you get a better picture. High quality kibbles do not have grains, have high quality protein and low carbs. Dogs live on 0 carbs and 0 grain. They don't eat them in the diet. So, Don't think human nutrition, think dog nutrition. So going down to my list, I'm not going into adjusting your dog into new food. That's kind of common sense. Few basics. In your car, when you pick up the dog from a shelter, fresh water. Make certain breaks throughout the travel. Some people driving far away to get the dogs. Make sure you have every hour or 45 minutes in break. Every gas station, tank your car, relieve your dog, give him water, give him something to snack, and back in the crate. Don't make a big fuss of it. I calculate 45 minutes drive, 5 to 10 minutes break, and then back to the car. Dogs in cars are stressed. Stress needs moisture. Moisture comes through water. Make sure you always hydrate your dog. Dogs from shelters come with chronic dehydration because of the water quality and the stressed environment. So don't assume that your dog is not thirsty. Some dogs don't drink water because they're just too stressed to bend their head over the water. Make sure you have a calm environment. Take your time in your gas station. Let him find the water. Have a fresh bucket of water. Don't give him a cup of water. Bring him a bucket of water, but he can dive in there and get the water he needs. So down my adoption bucket list. Yes, decompression. Wow, we are already day one. You get your dog, you get him in the car, you bring him home. Wait, you're still in the car, you open the door, you take the dog out and show him your neighborhood. Show him where you live and what your property is. Show him your territory. Show him what your boss are from. Try to take a route that they're not dog aggressive, barking at your dog. Make sure there are not kids and not bicycle running around. It's not on the highway. Just try to show your dog, this is my area. This is what you will smell the next couple of years. Get yourself comfortable. As you walk back from your walk, make sure that in the house there's everybody quiet and do not make a welcome party. Dogs are already overstimulated. They have a lot of stress going on. You, the car, the new people, they don't know you really. You're kind of an alien. The dog comes in the house in a peace. So let's focus a little bit on the part when you're coming in the house, which is, from my opinion, very important. Here's the rule. Dogs think in squares. The dog thinks a space where the dog can claim that space as his. Whoever is in that space owns that space. So we have two basic spaces. We have the personal space and the social space. The personal space is everything that we consider our space. Our bed, our shade, that's ours. Whoever enters that space is an intruder. So imagine a dog has a space of 6 feet around him. So in that 6 feet, you want to make sure that the dog feels comfortable around it. Let me show you a picture here so you can better understand. Just a second. I have a nice whiteboard here and everybody can watch it. That will help a lot. So everybody sees the board? Perfect. So you have your dog and his happy tail and his ears and his nice muzzle, and then you have 6 feet around your dog. That's his personal space. Do not enter that space without your dog's consent. It's very important that you respect your dog's consent. Dog's consent is being confirmed when your dog will send you the appropriate message that he agrees for you entering that space. If we see it from the side view, and I go back to my happy dog, good, here's my happy dog. Good, so we have a happy dog here. Do not reach over the dog's head. Do not pet the dog on the head and not on his back. I'm telling you, the dogs have the private space of 6 feet. When you enter the dog's space, you want to make sure that you serve your hand or treats below his head. Do not offer from above. That's invasion of a private space. If your dog does give you the consent, he may snap you because you will be an aggressor. That was just a short thing to do. So, step 2. You bring your dog in your home. You want to make sure that you invite your dog in the house. Invitation means I have my dog in a nice sit position, I step into the house and invite the dog to come in the house. The reason why is if you own the space and you're responsible for the space, you invite the dog that's outside into your safe space. That way you show your dog that you claim that space and he comes in as a visitor. That gives you certain rights. As you walk in the house, make sure that everything is set up as I said before. Start usually from the right side. Start from the right and try introducing your whole house and only the rooms that your dog is allowed to walk in. He doesn't need to be in the pantry room. He doesn't need to be in the bathroom. He doesn't need to be in the children's room. He doesn't need to be in the garage. Just show him these 2 basic rooms. The hallway, the kitchen, and his bedroom, or whatever your crate is set up. For now, for the next 3 weeks, he doesn't need to know more than that, because only what the dog knows that he can access to will he able to claim. So, you arrive at home, your dog is stressed. Think of that stress that's accumulated from the shelter, in the car, meeting you, meeting the house, meeting the people in your house. It will take 72 hours for your dog to process that amount of information. It's similar with you having a jet lag, flying to China after a 16-hour flight, and you just need time to get ready. Dogs go into a non-existing environment, in a place they've never been before. You don't know the background story, you don't know what happens in the past. Maybe he will never been in the house before. So give your dog time to decompress from the stress of environment in the shelter into your calm home. 72 hours. I'm not kidding here. I really mean it. 72 hours. Do not add any more stress as necessary. So, we got entered home. We go through the rooms one by one and we give it a go or no go. Use positive reinforcement. Do not correct your dog, but you want to make your point. When he wants to go in a room, oh! And he's like, what? We don't go in there. Only open and leave doors open and the dog is allowed to go in. Closed door means not existing. Dog does not know what's behind that door. So he doesn't need to know. You don't show him to him in the first place. The next thing we want to do is aggression. Yes. Aggression and reactivity is very normal to dogs who are not used to your new environment. Aggression is actually misused from my perspective. I would say always to use the word reactivity. My dog is reactive to certain actions. He feels threatened. That's acceptable. Dogs are allowed to be fearful and dogs are allowed to learn the process. So don't be frustrated. Don't counter-react with aggression or anger if your dog reacts to something. It's okay, let him deal with it. So one thing I want to mention here is dogs that come from a shelter, usually, besides of being dehydrated, are hungry. The food quality is usually low. So you want to make sure that your dog has all the nutrition he needs, plenty, and he's not starving. You want to make sure that he has enough water all the time, throughout the day, throughout the weeks. Make you as a giver. Just because you own your sock, you own your shoe, you own the remote control, doesn't give you the right to take it away from your dog if he has it in his mouth or in his possession. If it was on the floor, Your dog assumes it's unclaimed, therefore he has the right to claim it. That means that he is the legal owner of your remote control because nobody else claimed it. So when you want to take it back, come with an offer. Hey, I have a treat, do you want it? And he's like, sure. And you take the remote control and give him a treat. Do not assume that your dog is okay with it by taking it away from him without exchange. Only few dogs do that. If you were lucky with your previous dog, doesn't mean you're lucky with this one. You never know. Be careful, because what you want here is to have your dog safe environment and not putting out to failure because you want your control, because it's your control, you paid for it, and his dog wants, what? It's my control, I have it in my mouth, it's mine. You want to take it? You want to try me? Don't go into negotiations, don't go into disputes. Try to avoid disputes, try to avoid negotiations, come with a good offer, let the dog give up. The next part is feeding. We are still on day 1. If your dog is hungry, doesn't mean he will process the food you gave him. Usually dogs are very stressed the first day. I usually don't feed the dog the first day, I just skip it, just make sure you have enough water and maybe a little bit of a kibble to have something in his brain that he ate. He may have diarrhea, which is pretty normal. Stress environment creates diarrhea and runny poop. You want to make sure you have enough fiber in your food when you feed him. Make sure you don't overfeed your dog because that will ever create another stress. Feed multiple times a day, small amounts, and increase those amounts to get to a regular volume. A 75-pound dog should get about 1.5 cups of food, depending on his age, his excitement level, and your quality of food. Read the ingredients that you're feeding your dog. Make sure what you're feeding, you know what you're feeding, and also the recommended volume of that. Make sure you feed cups, not whatever cups, not because a convenience cup. Make sure that it's a cup because that's your measure. The better you measure, the better you can adjust your dog's weight. So the first day, do not meet strangers. Do not make a party. Do not go to dog parks. Do not test your dog in other conditions. Do not test his social skills. Do nothing else than bring him home and let him calm down for the next 3 days. The next 3 days are very crucial for you to become a good, trustful person. The reason why is the more information you give your dog in this first day, the less he will remember, because it's just too much. Dogs have a certain arousal they can get. So what I would say is make your day divided by 7 big events. If car driving is an event, if going for a walk is an event, if meeting a person is an event, you already consumed 3 events, you have 4 more left. Make sure you read your dog's intentions and excitement level. Learn your dog's threshold. Threshold means how much can I process in a certain amount of time. Imagine a bucket of water and the edge of the bucket is full. That's the dog's threshold. Whatever you add more into that bucket, it will overfill. It creates aggression. It creates frustration. I don't want to use the word aggression. It creates frustration and your dog may react to overstimulation. Another person, another correction, another leash correction, another yelling at your dog only creates to overfill that part. Oh, we have a guest here. So, down my bucket list. Meeting existing family dogs. No family dogs. Your dog is your dog. You brought him in the house. You have to learn your dog's good and bad behaviors before you introduce him to your good dogs. Because you don't want to be blamed by a dog that the dog that you brought in is a mess. So you want to make sure that that dog that you just brought in is at least same amount of knowledge level than your existing dogs. If your dogs suck, keep it up to speed. Teach them how to behave. Bring them to a certain level because you don't want the new dog to be smarter than your existing dogs. You want to keep a balance. Come here. Come here. Oh, here we go. Oh, old man. Yep, look who's here. Barnaby. So, Barnaby, imagine that if I would drop that dog with a new rescue in my backyard, he would not make it out alive, because I really don't know what my new dog does with my dogs. Even if that dog was good with other dogs in his property, on his foster home, doesn't mean he's good in my yard with my dog. I want to make sure how my dog reacts to this dog. It's not on their own free will that you match these two dogs together. Maybe they don't like each other. Maybe they need some time to adjust themselves. Do not test your new dog with your existing dog and see what happens. I'm telling you what happens. Your dog may end up in a rescue back or in the shelter, and your dog may end up in the veterinarian for a bite incident. So, down my bucket list. So, no to meeting people and no to meeting new dogs for the next 3 days. And if I say people, I mean your family members are okay, of course, because that's what matters. The first 3 days you should only be met your pet sitter, your dog trainer, and your family. I would not start even with the vet. Give him 3 days to calm down, get used to yourself. See how your dog behaves. Your dog needs to trust you when you bring him to the vet. So you may need a very crucial point here when you bring your dog to the vet, that you will help your dog integrate in that new environment, that it is helpful. You don't know what happens in the past. Your dog may have a trauma in the veterinarian. Check it out. You have 3 days time. So what else do we have here? We have our day 3 and 4. So in this day 4, I would suggest you start some serious training work, because your dog has already passed his decompression time and he trusts you already, and he trusts already your family members. So day 3 and 4 is actually your time to step in and says, hey dude, I like your style, I like how you behave, I don't see any serious problems. And if you have serious problems, you have already contacted a trainer to help you in that integration process. Now is the time to show your skills. Introduce your dog into his out there environment. Let him meet the garbage bin, let him meet the garbage truck, let him in the school bus. Don't make any social skills yet, just let him meet things and how you behave in this environment. The dog looks for you for instructions. Always reward your dog for checking in with you. Reward every time he checks in with you, reward him, because he shows you that he's concerned and he wants to feel watched and empathized. So make sure that you start communicating with your dog as well. Meeting strangers. Be careful. You want to make sure the people your dog's meeting are stable, normal people. They're respecting your dog's time and they respect your instructions. Just because people have dogs, usually they say, oh, I know dogs, I'm very comfortable with dogs, and all of a sudden they have a bite because they were super confident and put the dog in harm because the dog didn't feel so confident as they felt. So they become intruders with all the good means. They just didn't respect your dog's time. Meeting dogs and family in your own home. Everything that happens in your home from day 4 up to 3 weeks has to be supervised all the time. And I mean supervised is like you watch your milk not boiling in your can. You want to make sure that you are aware of every signal that your dog emits for help or to correct another dog or person. You want to make sure that you read everybody's body language, how a person bends over a dog, how a dog backs off. All this is important that you are aware of, because that's your plan. You want to know whatever happens all the time. You can interfere right in time and rescue your dog out of the situation and show him a way out of the trigger. Communication skills. A good time to start with communication skills is from day 1, but at day 4, that's your maximum level. You have to establish communication skills. Become aware of your dog's traits and habits. Some dogs sooner or later learn you better than you learn them. So you want to keep up with that speed. Dogs are empathetic. Dogs feel emotions. They can sense your emotions. You cannot pretend you're happy or you're balanced or you're strong and you're trustfully if you feel sick, are afraid, and discomfort. Dogs will feel that and will react to that. So people who are fearful, dogs most likely will take over and become overly confident, and they become protective. So if you see a protective dog, meaning is you're not doing your job well, you have to keep up with speed, search for help. A behaviorist, a trained behaviorist, and a person who knows the breed will definitely help you on that part. Establish your trust. In these 4 days, you should be able to trust your dog, and your dog should trust you. Situations, not very, very extreme, but basic situations like asking my dog to sit. I trust him that he stays sit there and doesn't leave the house. If you don't trust your dog, work on it. Everything that you don't trust your dog, it's time to start working on it. Week 1. Life of a dog is a constant learning process. Every day, every hour, every minute is input, output, experience and counter experience. Everything that happens around your dog is an imprint. So make sure that in that beginning of the week, everything that gets into your dog has a positive, nice and calm experience. Don't overwhelm your dog. Don't fall in a trap to over-socialize your dog, because we read that socialize your dog, an overstimulated dog is most likely reactive than an understimulated dog. So watch how much information you input your dog for him not to get overwhelmed and basically shut down because of too much information. The second and third week, first still in the first week, you want to make sure that you introduce your dog's basic skills. Sit, calm, down, stay. What we call obedience, it's that for the first 4 days to 1 week. Your dog should be very confident about you ask him a question, you get the answer of your dog. So if you don't have basic task, come, sit, stay, down, let's go, wait, slow, wake, walking loose leash, and not, if you don't have these settings, you need to consult a professional. You need help with that. Don't look away from it. It will not catch up with you. You will have other problems coming soon that you need these skills and you don't have them. So make sure you're up to date the first week. If you don't have these basic skills, ask for help. It's cheaper than waiting for an accident to happen and then you have to pay the veterinarian and the dog trainer. So week 2 and 3, your dog is gradually plugged into your family. Now your dog knows exactly what's going on in your family, who does what, why, with whom, who is partner with whom. They already understanding the family dynamic and how people react to each other. If you don't respect your partner, do not expect the dog to respect your partner. That family dynamics is being transferred through emotional information. If you don't respect your boss, nobody respects your boss. You have to respect the level that your dog is in. You need to understand that if you don't send the right messages and you don't give that power of attorney to your family members, your dog will take over and you will be the only one who will be able to handle your dog and everybody else is in danger. You are a responsible person who addresses a dog's behavior. You are responsible for everybody. You have people who will take over when you are not in the house. It's not acceptable that if you leave the house that everybody is terrorized by your dog. You have to make sure that your partner or your children have the same power over your dog than you have. However, some dogs, based on the breed and the behavior skills, will be most likely protective over your family while you are away. Make sure your family has power to shut off that alarm system that the dog has. If you have problems with that, you have to consult a behaviorist. A dog trainer will not be enough for that part. However, some dog trainers have behavior skills, but most of them don't. Obedience training is not behavior modification. It affects the behavior, but it's not behavior modification. So make sure you consult the right person for the right job. A veterinarian is not here to train your dog, and a veterinary behaviorist is not to tell you what to feed your dog. That's a nutritionist's job. So you have a nutritionist, you have the dog trainer, you have the behaviorist, and you have a veterinarian. All these people are skilled, they're specialists to do the specific work. There are some people who are trainers and behaviorists, or behaviorists and trainers, so there are veterinarians who are veterinarians and behavior veterinarians as veterinarian skills, because they have to prescribe medications, but do not mix things with each other. A veterinarian doesn't tell you what to eat, what to feed your dog. He can only tell you what from his experience is, but not from his knowledge. Let me confirm here that I said everything that I need to say. In these first 2 and 3 weeks, you want to make sure that you avoid conflicts and confrontations. In these 2 and 3, in the second and third week, everything will hit the fan, because your dog will challenge your knowledge, will challenge your behavior skills, will challenge your rules and your limitations, because dogs' natural drive is to expand their knowledge and take over and further. Some of them want to establish their ranking. I don't agree with that term. I would rather say they want to establish their emotional relationship with their environment. So they want to create an emotional relationship that is stronger and deeper than before. So you want to watch all these indications. You have to supervise all the time. The second and third week is so important that if you skip or lose that important week, you may not have a good outcome of your dog's behavior throughout his lifetime. Things will come up, will pop up later if you don't pass that 3-week test. So let's go through the schedule of the second and third week. So since your dog is gradually taking in your family, especially puppies for 7 to 18 months of age, which is a crucial time period of dogs, they are just jerks. Believe me, they will pee in your house, they will poop in your house, they will chew, they will destroy, they will bark, they will become aggressive, they become protective, whatever, you name it. That's what they do between 7 and 18 months of age. It's actually the most complicated time, because dogs think they know everything and they start applying their knowledge and see how the environment reacts to them. It's just like 16-year-olds. Sorry for you guys who watch right now. So you want to be in the second and third week, you want to establish yourself as the go-to person. If your dog has a problem, he should come to you and complain about it. How this looks like is, hey Dad, I have a problem with that guy. Can you help me? That's as simple as that. First, the dog looks at you, tell you, I have a problem with this, what I'm looking at, and I need your help. If you miss this look, you're in trouble, you need help. Because if you don't reply to that question and this concern, your dog will take over and deal with it on his own, which doesn't end as well. So, week 2 and 3, and I have 6 minutes left. I'm very close. If you are not the go-to person, you have to ask for help. Yeah, I know. You ask a behaviorist this time, because you need to learn skills that your dog already has, and you have to catch up with your dog. Make sure that everything that you learn from a behaviorist or a trainer are transferred to you first and then to the dog, not the other way around, because usually the dog knows what's going on. It's we lack on knowledge, and the dog trainer or behavior should educate you first. You should be on the same page before that information goes to your dog. You are the one who teaches your dog. You are the dog parent. It's not the trainer's job to teach your dog. It's your job. Okay, I told it. Week 4. You're almost there. And here's the crucial week of all the weeks, because that 4th week will never end until your dog is on the ends of his days. Because you have to stay consistent. You have almost a perfect relationship with your dog. You have to be confident. You have to be true to your emotions. You have to be structured. You have to be consistent. You have to be emotionally balanced. You shouldn't yell. You shouldn't scream. You shouldn't kick your dog. And you have to keep up the good work forever. After the 4th week, it's always the 4th week. Make sure everything you do with your dog has a happy ending. Imagine yourself as an employer and you hired a professional dog who wants to be in your business for a long time. So you want to make sure he's educated, he's well fed, he is well behaved, has social skills, is in good communications, in a good relationship with you. Keep this 4th week forever, and you will have your dog forever until your dog lays next to your bed and happy to be with you forever. So, if you have any questions about how to be your dog's best parent, I'm happy to help you out. If you need help, behavior help or training help, and you don't have a skilled trainer in your area, or you don't have a person who is knowledgeable about the breeds, feel free to contact me through my website, www.romanscaninetraining.com. I will post already my website. You're free to contact me through there. I have a scheduler. You can book an appointment, a short appointment, maybe 20 minutes should be enough to get a better picture, and then I can guide you through the process. I can solve 90% of your issues with your dog. I can help you solve 90% of issues with your dog. Some issues are not resolvable over distance. I can coach you over phone, over Skype or video, and you will have pretty good skills because you will understand what you have to do. Some cases, in really rare cases, you need professional help to take away the dog from your responsibility, help with their technical skills, and bring the dog to a better level, and then reintegrate back to your family. So don't hesitate to ask for help. It's never too early to ask for help. Sometimes it's too late. If some trainers or some people screw up your dog, if you miss times and you miss signals and you miss appointments and you miss to protect your dog from health issues and you miss to give your dog healthy food, you end up in trouble. Some issues may be irreversible, or they are reversible but you not be able to afford them. So make sure you ring the alarm bells early in time, ask for help. Hearsay is not dog training skills. If somebody mentioned something that you heard from somebody who had a similar breed a few years ago and you heard from somebody else, that's not information. That's just put your dog to failure. So make sure the information source you have is accurate, is and dog. And if you have troubles with that, I'm happy to help you. Thank you very much for joining today. I thought I gave as much information as possible in the shortest amount of time. You're welcome to join one of my classes. You can find them on my website, romanscaninetraining.com/events/ Enjoy your newly adopted dog and make sure you be a good parent. Enjoy your day.